So, you're thinking about a career in software testing that's actually future-proof? Well, you're gonna need a new roadmap. The role is changing and it's changing fast. Today, we're gonna walk through the exact skills you'll need to really succeed as a software test engineer in 2026. Let's get right into it. And this, right here, gets to the absolute heart of it. You know, the old days of just finding bugs and tossing them over the wall to developers? Yeah, those are long gone. The entire game has changed, which means the skills you need to win have changed too. So, what does this evolution actually look like? Well, it's a huge shift towards a much more technical, automated, and honestly, a more intelligent way of working. To really make your mark, you've got to master AI, build some seriously robust automation, and get comfortable in the cloud, because that's where all the modern apps live. Let's break down that very first step. Look, every great structure needs a solid foundation, right? Before we even think about touching automation or AI, we have to talk about your mindset. It's all about developing what I call a tester's eye, that gut instinct for looking at a product and just knowing where it's most likely to break. And that strong foundation? It's built on clear documentation. It all starts with the test plan. That's your high-level strategy, your blueprint. From there, you create test scenarios to figure out what you're testing. Then you get into the nitty-gritty with test cases that explain how, step by step. And finally, the RTM, the requirement traceability matrix, is your final check to make sure every single requirement has been covered. Nothing slips through the cracks. Okay, let's clear up something that trips up so many new testers: priority versus severity. They are not the same thing. Priority is all about urgency. Think about a typo on the homepage. The impact is low, but it looks unprofessional, so fixing it is a high priority. Severity, on the other hand, is all about impact. If the login button is completely broken, that's a high severity issue because it stops users dead in their tracks. Getting this right is absolutely crucial. All right, foundation is solid. Now it's time to level up. This next phase is where you really make that leap from being a manual tester to becoming a software development engineer and test, or an SDT. This is where you learn to harness the incredible power of automation. You see, to build great automation, you have to speak the software's language. That means getting really comfortable with SQL, and I mean going way beyond SelectStar. You need to master joins to check that complex data is correct. It also means you have to master API testing, which is basically the nervous system of almost every modern app. And, of course, it means learning to code in a language developers use, like Java or Python. And when you're testing those APIs, these status codes, they're going to be your best friends. They tell you exactly what happened. A 200 means, hey, we're all good. But a 404 tells you a resource is missing, and a 500, well, that signals a big problem on the server. Knowing these is like having a secret decoder ring for the health of your application. You know, it's not enough to write automation that just works. You need to write automation that's smart. And that's where the Page Object Model, or POM, comes in. It's a design pattern that brilliantly separates your test logic from the UI elements. Why does that matter? It makes your code super clean, reusable, and so much easier to update when the UI inevitably changes. This, right here, is a sign of a true professional SDT. Now, let's talk tools. Whether you're using Selenium or Playwright, building strong automation really comes down to a few key skills. You've got to master locators to find things on the page, handle all those tricky dynamic pop-ups, and, most importantly, use smart waits. Smart waits are what stop your tests from failing just because a page loaded a little slowly. This is the hands-on stuff that builds automation you can actually trust. So, you've built this amazing automation suite. Now what? Well, in 2026, testing isn't some separate phase you do at the end. No way. It's an integrated, absolutely essential part of the development pipeline itself. Your tests are running automatically, all the time, giving constant feedback. This is your role in the modern world. A developer commits new code that instantly triggers a build in a tool like Jenkins. And that build, in turn, triggers your automated test suite. If your tests pass, awesome, the code moves on. But if they fail, the build is blocked. Bad code never even gets close to production. You become the gatekeeper of quality. And to be that gatekeeper, you need the right set of keys. You'll use Git to manage your test code, Jenkins or GitHub Actions to run it automatically, and Docker to create consistent, isolated test environments. Seriously, Docker is a game changer. It finally solves that age-old excuse, well, it works on my machine. Okay, we've covered the foundation, the tech skills, and the pipeline. Now we get to the really exciting part. This is what's going to make you not just a competent tester, but a future-proof, totally indispensable member of any software team in 2026 and beyond. Just look at this comparison. This is the massive shift that's happening right now. The old way, manually, painstakingly writing out every single test case. The new way, using generative AI with some smart prompt engineering to create comprehensive, complex test cases in a fraction of the time. This isn't about replacing you. It's about amplifying your intelligence and efficiency 100 times over. So what's in this new AI-powered toolkit? Well, you'll use tools like ChatGPT to brainstorm test ideas, GitHub Copilot to help you write automation code way faster, and tools like Apple Tools to catch tiny visual bugs the human eye would almost certainly miss. AI analytics can even predict which parts of your app are the riskiest, so you can focus your effort right where it matters most. But with all this amazing tech, please don't forget the human element. Your most powerful skills might not even be technical. Bug advocacy is the art of convincing a developer why a bug actually matters. Clearly communicating risk to management is vital. And you know what? Showcasing your work in a public GitHub portfolio is how you prove your value to the world. And that brings us to the end of our roadmap. The full path is laid out right in front of you, from building that solid foundation to mastering automation to embracing AI. The map is officially in your hands. So the only question left is, where are you going to begin?